So today we start with chapter 5, that is spreadsheets and introduction. Now, what do you mean by a spreadsheet? Now, a spreadsheet is a large sheet where data is organized in a tabular form. Okay, tabular meaning in the form of a table. That is in the form of rows and columns. A table has rows and columns, and data is entered in that tabular form. It is also called a worksheet. Like your routine here. Okay, you have rows which shows you which period, and then you have your columns which shows you which days of the week. So when data is organized in this form, it becomes very easy to read that data and to get information from it. So when I ask you what do you have in the fourth period on Thursday, you can easily pinpoint and tell me very quickly that you have computer on that day. Okay, or for this bill here, for example, it shows you how many dishes were ordered at a restaurant, what those dishes were, what was the price of each dish, and how many plates of each dish were ordered. Okay, and it also shows you the amount or money paid for each dish. And finally, it shows you the total bill. Now, when data is in this form, it becomes very easy to read that data and to perform calculations on that data. Now, an electronic spreadsheet is nothing but a spreadsheet which has been created on a computer system. Now, Dan Bricklin is known as the father of electronic spreadsheets because he was the first person to invent a software application or electronic spreadsheet for personal computers, which was called the VisiCalc. Okay, so very important, remember the name Dan Bricklin and the first electronic spreadsheet, that is VisiCalc. In this chapter, we will be using an application called Microsoft Excel, okay, which is a spreadsheet application from Microsoft to understand how spreadsheets work and how we can use them to our advantage. Other common spreadsheet applications are your OpenOffice, LibreOffice Calc. You have Numbers, which are available on Apple computers. And nowadays, we also have online and mobile spreadsheets like Google Sheets. Now, to start using Microsoft Excel, first we have to install Microsoft Office. The Microsoft Office is a software package which includes many applications like Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, which you may have used earlier. So now to open Microsoft Excel, take your mouse cursor to the bottom left corner of the screen to the Start button and left click on it. Now left click on All Programs and then find Microsoft Office. Now left click on Microsoft Office and you'll see the list of applications included in that package. Now find Microsoft Excel and left click on it. So this is how an Excel workbook looks like. An Excel file is also called an Excel workbook. So it is an electronic spreadsheet, and that is why it is in the form of rows and columns. So each column has a column header indicated by these alphabets A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and so on, and each row has a row number like 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. Now at the intersection of each row and a column, we have a box. So you see that there are so many boxes here on the screen. So each box is known as a cell. So the cell is nothing but the intersection of a row and a column. Now this is where you will be entering the data. The cell is where you'll be entering your data in the form of text, in the form of numbers, or in the form of formulae. Now each cell has a cell address. Now the cell address is nothing but where the cell is located, in which row and in which column. So right now I have selected this cell. This cell is in column F and row 10. So the cell address is written this way with the column header first, that is F, followed by the row number, that is 10. So the address of this cell is F10. Let's take another cell. This cell is located in row 19 and column I. So the cell address is I19. Now you see that whenever I select a cell, it gets a black border. That black border is known as the cell pointer. Now it selects the cell and makes it active so that we can work in that particular cell. So the cell that is selected is called the active cell. Now, as we know, Excel is made up of rows and columns. To be precise, Excel has 16,384 columns and 1,048,576 rows. Now, at the intersection of each row and column, there's a cell. So if you multiply the number of rows and the number of columns, you will see that in one sheet only, we have 17,179,869,184 cells. So that's a whole lot of cells, and the Excel sheet is very big. So how do we move around in the Excel sheet? We can either use the mouse or we can use the keyboard to do that. Okay, so using the mouse is pretty straightforward, and using the arrow keys on the keyboard, with the up key you can go up by one cell, with the down key you can go down by one cell, with the left you move one cell to the left, and with the right arrow key you move one cell to the right. Now that was pretty straightforward, but we also have some shortcut keys which you can use to quickly navigate through the worksheet or to quickly move around inside the worksheet. So let's say like you're working in this cell here in column AB and row 50, and you quickly want to go to the first cell in the sheet. So how do you do that? To do that, just press and hold the control key, press and hold it, don't leave it, and then you just hit the home key and it takes you right to the first cell in the worksheet, that is A1. Now let's say you're working in cell P14. Now you want to go to the first cell in that row. So just press the home key and it will take you to the first cell in row number 14. You can also achieve the same thing by pressing and holding the control key and then pressing the left key. Now if you want to go to the last cell in the last cell in this particular row, that is 14, then we can just press and hold the control key and then press the right key, and it will take you to the last cell in that row. Now to move to the first cell in a particular column, just press and hold the control key and then the up arrow key, and it will take you to the first cell in that particular column. Now in the same way, if you want to move to the last cell in that particular column, press and hold the control key and then the down key. So you can use these shortcuts to quickly navigate around the worksheet.